no selection process. The only thing that happens is they fall drunk in my lap, they're mine. And unfortunately, I can't see what they look like. Most people would be deterred by the red nose and grey skin. Nah, not a problem for me. Bring it. I have, yep, bring it on. Yeah, relationships?
Oh, look.
That's problematic.
And in fact, a taxi driver just asked me the other day, you know, do blind people marry other blind people, or do they marry sighted people? And I said to him, well, they only marry sighted people if they're really desperate.
Disabled people must date disabled people.
Yes, of course.
What people think.
Yeah. Nice little match-ups, nice little dates. It's like, it used to drive me wild. I have a couple of guy mates who are disabled, and it's like, people rock up to us in restaurants and say, oh, isn't it nice that you two are on a date? Isn't that lovely? It's like that we got a day pass for the institution or something.
I do remember when I started dating my current girlfriend, I told some people at work, and unbeknownst to me, behind the scenes, the question of the week was whether or not Red's girlfriend is also in a wheelchair, which I found quite amusing, really, because I didn't even see it as a like, that's people are, you know, are interested in this stuff.
Well, I suppose it's dating is, you know, it's definitely different. I definitely used to have more attention before I was getting around in a wheelchair, but it's I think, you know, it's different now.
I definitely feel that I have to take a hell of a lot longer to get to know someone, or to, I don't know, fully be myself around a girl or whoever that you meet. Just based on the fact of you don't want to scare them off too soon type thing. You want them to actually get to know you as a person before you go ahead and I whip my legs off.
But it's harder getting to that point, isn't it, of people getting to know you and not seeing the wheelchair, and it's just that much harder, I think, in a dating situation, because you stand it like a sore thumb to start with, but then after a while they just see you, hopefully.
He plays it pretty safe. But I can understand that, because, you know, you look at a lot of movies and stuff out there, they kind of, you know, take the mickey out of people, you know, with prosthetics. So like, oh my God, and then she whipped her leg off, and I'm like, whoa, not ready for that.
Well, the whole thing about catching... Apparently people do this thing where they catch each other's eye across a bar. Well, hello. So, I mean... So then people say, the other thing people say to me is that I'm a snob and aloof, because obviously I'm not getting anybody's eye, or we are getting somebody's eye and we have no idea. We think we're just sort of looking into the lovely distance.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing you've got this
guy who said you've been looking at me all night
long.
I'm on a dating site now because I can be me. They can get to know me, and then I can tell them about the disability second. I've had a couple of negative situations where they've said that, well, you've lied. I said, well, I haven't actually. I just haven't told you that I'm disabled, but I am. Before you meet me, I'm telling you now that I'm disabled. Do you still want to meet? After we've talked and got on really well.
And I get a bit sick and tired of some people I've heard are like, oh, it's so hard to get a boyfriend because I have a disability. And it's like, oh, just get over yourself. Go out, meet some people. Don't go on the hunt for a boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. They become they will find you if you're not constantly putting out the aura, but I'm disabled, it's so very hard to get a boyfriend.
I don't care about their looks, really. I just judge them by their personalities. And if some people go, oh, you know, he's not, you know, some people go, oh, he's cute or whatever, and I'm just like, really? But is his, like, and inside I'm thinking, but is his personality as cute as he looks?
When you're going long term and if you're going to live together, you're going to need help with some things, and so if they're seeing that, you know, they're willing to go the long term, then obviously they're willing to help with all those kind of things. So I think that kind of keeps the bad ones away, because the bad ones won't be willing, maybe.
Because I don't flirt, that's the thing. Minnie has this wonderful blinking thing, which is fantastic, which is just so alluring. And the thing is, you know, a lot of people would think that is, you know, a form of flirtation.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we've never talked about this.
It's good though.
Yeah.
I just don't flirt, and a lot of people have actually said to me that they find me hard to read because I haven't learnt through observation the process of seduction. But once again, the process for me is falling drunk in my lap.
Mind you, being a gorgeous singer in great frocks is quite seductive.
Up to you.
Yeah, well, it is, believe you me.
I don't have a problem with masculinity. For me, I think it was more of an image thing. I'm not afraid to admit that I'm vain, and that's, you know, regardless of me being in a chair or not. So being in a chair did add a little bit of pressure.
I mean, I think in New Zealand we've got a very limited, you know, concept of what it is to be a man, to be masculine. And I think, you know, being in a wheelchair certainly doesn't fit that very narrow prescription.
Because I haven't seen myself as disabled as such my whole life, now I've grown up a bit more, I see myself as a man. I don't see myself as being part man who needs help with certain things or anything like that. I'll put my man pants on, I'll put my foot down, I'm not afraid to do that.
You got it? Hang on to me, mate, hang on to me. Hang on. Nick, what is it? Ah, beautiful. You sit on that side? Yeah, don't. Leg up.
We kind of hold up Richie McCaw as this pinnacle of manhood here, and I think, yeah, I think we are quite narrow-minded about sort of versions of masculinity and accepting those. You know, if you're not like a sort of a 6'4" rugby playing, beer sculling man from Canterbury, you're kind of lesser.
I think in some ways that Cameron might go out of his way to prove his masculinity with his friends, you know, tries to drink them under the table and, you know, tries to push the limits kind of thing quite a bit. Yeah, it comes a little bit unstuck now and again, but...
Oh my God, you're in a wheelchair and you're pretty. Does not compute.
Love makeup, love fashion. Yeah, love going on dates. Yeah, definitely.
So if I'm wearing the blue snakeskin shoes and the killer tight jeans, I can't actually get into that outfit myself. And a lot of people would say wear Ugg boots and trackies, but that's being limited by your impairment.
I guess the way I saw myself was not as someone who was attractive or pretty. I thought the pretty aspect of me had died as well.
I remember actually going through my wardrobe just after I'd moved into a flat, and then I was about to move home, so we were doing a big clear out of my wardrobe, and my sister was helping me and sort of saying, oh, you won't need this, and you won't, and she was finding all my nice underwear. Oh, you won't need these anymore, you won't need these. And also dresses and things like that, you won't need this, you won't need that. And sort of leaving me the cotton briefs, and that was about it. So yeah, and it was funny how we all had to change the way we thought about it. Of course, you're still going to wear nice things and nice underwear and all that kind of thing, because you still are female and you still want to wear those things.
Turn around. You look awesome.
Thank you.
I just sort of dress the way I like to dress, and I sort of make a conscious effort of not looking like I just escaped from the institution. So
it's always a good look.
Yeah.
I have noticed that I did used to probably get looked at more by males than I do now, and I just find that a little bit sad, I guess, because I can't change the way they think about me, and I can't be the girl that I was before my injury either. So it's just, I don't know, it's sad. It's sad that they don't see that I'm the same person, but I'm not. So yeah, I'm struggling with that one a little bit at the moment.
It's also a bit of a Jedi mind trick that I do on myself, the whole look good, feel better thing, because if I feel really yucky on a particular day and weak and tired and sore and down, and I look in the mirror and I see that, it acts like an affirmation to me that I am sick. And so if I feel like that, those are the days that I'll actually push myself harder, get in the shower, put on some nice makeup, put on my favourite top with some colour in it, and then almost trick myself because I look in the mirror and I feel well and I feel more confident. So, yeah.
We don't actually register any looks of either approval or disapproval. So we're kind of like the bizarre sociological experiment of what would you wear if you didn't know whether or not it looked good or bad. You've got to trust your own taste. You've got to actually just move with your own,
what feels good.
Once you learn to love yourself, everything else falls into place. I mean, I'm getting old. I've just gone through menopause. It's, I'm on the other side now, heading down that hill pretty fast. And I've got a hook that I'm trying to hold on to the top of the mountain so I don't go down too fast. And I've realised now that I can enjoy life for whatever life is worth and for however long it is. And I can enjoy it fully for who I am, and that is me.
Disability and sex. Oh, how does that work?
Do they do that?
The notion that I would possibly have sex is like some of the dialogue that I've had with my friends. It's like, you do that? Really? It's like, yeah.
So when I had my accident, I think it was really weird. It was kind of like all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. And I remember saying to the specialist, or he was kind of like just the registrar at the hospital, he was like, and he came into the room and I just said, am I still going to be able to have sex? Am I still going to be able to have children? And he was like, I have to get back to you. And he ran away.
I think people don't think about sexuality of blind people. It's like they don't think that blind people can cook. I don't think they think about blind people having sex either.
We're just living ordinary lives, no? We're just doing what every young guy kind of does.
And I remember sitting in a sexuality sort of lecture and almost being grossed out by it initially, but that was obviously my terrible old attitude of, oh goodness, no, what I don't want to have to think about it. But now obviously my attitude's totally changed because I live this, and we are, as I said before, still human.
And so there is that weird thing coming through, that there is a sense of, if you are in a wheelchair,
that's not
do
gonna
you
work.
have, sensuality? Do you have sexuality?
Yeah.
Those things, which I guess must be a pain.
Oh yeah, that annoys me. Yeah.
I still would like to have children. I'm aware that it's going to be a lot harder, much, much, much harder. Like I do see women pushing prams around the place, and I'm like, am I going to do that one?
Yeah, 33, man. The clock's ticking.
33? Oh.
Yeah, I'm in my prime.
Prime, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a private obstetrician that we went to see, and he ended up getting a punch in the nose from Ollie's father because he said, can you leave the room a minute? And I was like, yeah. Oh, when we first went in, he said, oh, I'm guessing that you're here for a termination. And I was like, no, this was a planned baby. That's not what we're here for. And he said, oh, he was very, very surprised. And then he had a quick look at me and he said, everything seems to be all right. We'll put you under this high-risk maternity team. And he asked me to leave the room for a minute. And then he took Molly's father aside and he said, oh, look, you're a very handsome-looking, very successful man. You could have got a lot of other people pregnant and, you really probably shouldn't have done this. And, he ended up flying through his glass window in his reception area and it went really, really badly. And then we had quite a few bad experiences like that with professionals at the time. So I don't think things are like that now, but there was a good load of hard work from a lot of people that went in the last 10 years that's made things different.
I remember a friend of mine had just had a baby and she was disabled, and this woman felt the urge to come up to her and go on and on about how people with disabilities shouldn't have children. And it's like, what kind of license do you have to ramble about that, you lunatic? It's like...
I've never really thought about kids. I mean, I've gone off and had seen a genealogist, I think they're called, yeah, to see whether or not my kids would be born like me, and apparently they won't. Apparently I was just a freak of nature.
And right there.
Yeah.
When I was pregnant with Molly, it was my favourite thing because I've always been a bit shy about my tummy and the whole muscular dystrophy thing. It doesn't work well with my abs. And then I had this really big belly that was right out here, and it was the first time I ever wore really skin-tight dresses because I didn't have to have rolls because it's also stretched out to here. And I felt really beautiful and really wonderful. And I'd always had things about scars and impairment and being a disabled woman and things like that. And something magical happened where I was carrying this baby. She was really, really healthy, and my body did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Stinky nappy.
Perceptions are people just don't believe that you're capable of raising your child. I mean, I even had family contact Sips when he was young and make a complaint because he fell over, because he has cerebral palsy. He was extremely clumsy as a child, and he fell over the bar heaters one day when he was running in from the bathroom. And so all of a sudden Sips was contacted, and, you know, it was as though I was a negligent parent.
Parenting with a disability has its challenges, believe me. I mean, it's great. I mean, I wouldn't change it for the world, and I wouldn't change the son I've got because he's a fantastic son. I think having a disability opens you up to being able to understand more, but it also means that you need more support so that there is that change in the power of the relationship.
I've got this theory about the kids of disabled parents that you get all the humility and lessons and joy and empathy without any of the pain or rubbish that goes along with it. And a lot of the kids of disabled mamas and daddies that I've ever met, and quite a lot through my work, incredible little people. So
our kids will be the ones that help somebody that's struggling at the supermarket or something. They've dropped something down, a mum with a pram, and she'll drop a whole load of stuff down. Our kids will be the ones that will dive down and help them pick it up. They just get that empathy sort of side of things.
They do.
So I think it's good for them in lots of ways.
Communication's really important in any relationship. If he wasn't able to sign, I wouldn't give him a second look.
You tend to focus a lot more on yourself because the first thing you have to do when you've got a disability is organise yourself. So it's very much focused around your needs. And partners that aren't disabled find that quite difficult to deal with because you can continually having to set yourself up before you look at the relationship.
I think also that communication is really important. Like if I wasn't able to sign with any depth, then the relationship wouldn't work. I mean, I'd never win any arguments.
That's the thing. You know, you have to ask a lot of people when you're in a relationship anyway. You are interdependent. You are reliant on each other for emotional needs, for all sorts of things.
If I needed a lot more to centre around me, then I don't think we probably would still be together, but I'm sort of fairly independent sort, I suppose, and so I can cope with that. I mean, we've certainly had quite a role reversal in the practical aspects of things.
There's a lot of people that would tell you never have your husband or wife as your caregiver. That's really common. Just don't do that. It's bad and it'll mess up your marriage. We haven't found it to be so.
I find the opposite, really.
Yeah, we're fine with it. I would feel a lot more comfortable, and so would Richard, with him if I get stuck grabbing me out of a shower or giving me a hand to get into tight jeans, and we have a laugh about it, and it's all quite hilarious.
Because there is maybe an added need for support and nurture, and in some areas, to have someone who can give that freely without feeling like somehow that they build up a resentment around that, or I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's necessarily happened, but this...
You also
could explain why we're both single at the moment, though, couldn't it?
Sometimes partners feel that they're putting more into a relationship than what you are because you can't do the physical things that they do. So I think that could be quite affected. And you quite often attract women that are needy, or men that are needy if you're a woman, and they feel that they've got a duty or they want to save you or something like that.
You get these people who are the overcarers,
the savers,
the overprotectors. I mean, that's the funniest thing though, because I've pretty much never performed. I've usually been the person who's looking after and caring.
Well, yeah, I know. That's why I really don't know the answer.
No, we have nothing to say.
some people haven't managed to accept that you are, or realise that you're still the same person. So for me, I don't know about Fujo, but like for me, a couple of friends that were really close friends have completely died away because they just couldn't deal with it, and I think they probably put off dealing with it, and then it just got kind of too hard.
You know, I must admit I lost a lot of my friends, but I think that when something like this happens, you find out that a lot of your friends are actually only acquaintances. You know them through certain sports. I mean, I had my golf and my cricket, and they were, which I thought they were friends, but really they were acquaintances. So you came down to some really good friends.
I didn't know what spinal cord injury was. I didn't know what my future was going to hold. So I just kind of got on with things as they came to me. Challenges arose, and I, achieved stuff, and that was great. Whereas I think it was pretty tough for Mum and Dad, but I think, seeing me achieve helped them a lot as well.
My parents are definitely very worried about sort of what happens when they're not there anymore, I think, with me. You almost become a little bit childlike for a while, don't you? Especially initially after your injury. You are a dependent child again, and that's really hard, and you sort of have to snap yourself out of that quite quickly, but you're always going to be more dependent on your parents than you would have before.
The relationship with my sister probably suffered quite a bit. She's 6 years younger than me, and a lot of the spotlight came on me at a time when she probably needed it, and that was probably quite tough on her as well.
Like my relationship with my dad changed because I'd always been this like really independent person, and he was like, oh, now he's got to do all these things for me, and he's got to, that I become this. And I think they were really worried about the future.
Look, there's no question that there's lots of things we can't do as a family. And sometimes Anne gets a bit, you come in, but, I don't worry about it. And, Anne probably does more because, we can't do certain things. But then we try and make up for doing other things.
Independence is something for me that I don't really think twice about. It just is. I just do. I think growing up with a disability means that it just forms part of my existence. I mean, it's like I don't wake up every morning and go, should I get out of bed today? Oh, I could just stay in bed and just be dependent on everybody around me. There's not even a choice. It's not a conscious thing. I think it's just important to get out there and live life.
So I think it's the most important thing in my life is my independence. And it's hard sometimes for when other people come into my life, say, a girlfriend or a partner or stuff like that, and, there's a natural instinct for people to want to help. I've lived my life without help. A lot of the times I'm pushed away from it. And so sometimes that does create, a little bit of uncomfortableness.
When you go with other people, it can be incredibly generous when people offer and pick you up, and it's fantastic. What happens, though, is that they are actually in the power position. So you're always the one waiting, you're always the one relying on other people. And I think, and even waiting for taxis, of course, can be frustrating, but I often prefer that these days because I feel like I have some input into the time frame of when I get picked up.
I don't really agree with the notion of being fully independent. I think the best thing ever is to be in control of whatever help you get, because you can be completely mental, and I do know people who spend 6 hours a day getting dressed because they want to prove that they can get dressed on their own. But you can't compromise other aspects of your life in order to be this mythical notion of independent.
Now, we both have a fear around going places where you can't get back from on your own. And so sometimes friends say, oh, look, come to this amazing secluded place in the Coromandel. And yes, exactly, it's this fear response of like...
I can't walk out there. I mean, that's me in the shore because I can't walk back from the shore.
But that's the shore, really, isn't it?
Sure.
I mean, it's never, ever been defeated by something. So there's always been a way of doing everything, really. Hasn't there?
Yeah.
Or apart from doing up buttons.
Yes. And doing the monkey bars.
Oh, yeah.
tying my laces and tying my hair up. And I think that's the extent of it all.
Even when you're dependent, there is so much strength in vulnerability, because at least you're actually admitting, this is what I need. And the weakest position is when people actually don't know what they need.
Because don't forget that we're all dependent to an extent, that nobody lives completely independently. So if you can be in control of whatever help you get and know where it's coming from, and I think that's the best notion. I think independence is important to me, but realistic independence is even more important.